Mariners win 8-1. They improve to 21-18 on the season, and they take the first of 3 games against the Oakland Athletics. Let's go over the scoring plays, shall we? I think we shall. No runs over the first 3 innings, but the Mariners get hot in the 4th. Luke Raley doubles in Mitch Haniger. That makes it 1-0. Ty France doubles home Cal Raleigh and Luke Raley to make it 3-0. And then Dylan Moore connects on a long homer that stays fair and scores Ty France 5-0 at the end of 4. Moore was not done. He singles home Garver and Raleigh 7-0 at the end of 5. He singles home Luke Raley in the 7th, 8-0 at the end of 7. Unfortunately, they can't keep the shutouts. Lawrence Butler singles in Kyle McCann 8-1. But while shutouts are nice, ultimately a 7-run win is a pretty nice little thing as well. So the negative here, and honestly, as good as this win is, especially after you just get absolutely crushed in that final game against Minnesota, it's great to see a bounce back here. But the negative here is that there is a concern. And Bryan Woo makes his season debut. It rhymes. He throws 4 1/3 innings, and he gives up no runs. He just gives up the 1 hit. He walks 1. He strikes out 3. That's all positive. The negative, for those of you who did miss it, and even those who thought, let's just go over it again, Woo leaves that game with a trainer. The Mariners immediately, pretty close to immediately anyways, called it a precautionary exit. I waited to record this until after we got some more information. So Service says that Woo will make his next scheduled start, that this was an extremely precautionary exit. And all of that being said, I'm still nervous about it. And the reason I'm nervous about it is because Woo said this was something he dealt with during his rehab assignment, that there would be times where if he sat for a long inning, he struggled to get going again. Well, the obvious joke to make is, hey, the Mariners aren't going to make Bryan Woo sit for very long based on how their offense is played for most of the year, right? Very funny. Accurate, but funny. Most accurate things are funny, or you know what I'm saying, probably. It's still concerning because this could be something that lingers. And this is why, unless there is a roster move made, Emerson Hancock has to continue to start and be ready to go if Woo needs to be placed back on the IL. It's great that they're saying he's going to make that next start. It's great that there's no structural damage. I don't even think they underwent imaging or anything like that. They just wanted to be very safe with him. And I get that. And it's easy to be safe with someone when you're up 5-0 against, let's face it, one of the worst teams in baseball. There are some much, much, much more difficult tests coming up for Bryan Woo. That is an understatement of understatements. I believe his next start will come in Baltimore. If it's not Baltimore, it's against Kansas City. But either way, good lineup. Good lineup. Much better than Oakland, and let's just talk about how Woo pitched. I thought he pitched fine. I don't think he was dominant. And my biggest concern, and I talked about this during our season recap of every player, is that Bryan Woo has absolutely shoved against crap. And he has had the opposite effect against anyone who's good. And for proof of that, coming into today, his ERA against teams with a losing record is a 1.88. His ERA against teams above 500 is 7.03. Now, everybody has a higher ERA against better teams because they're better teams. Of course they do. That is an extreme. And that is something that will continue to make me wonder until I see him more consistently pitch well against good teams. I'm sorry. Somebody brought up that Oakland is like 14th to me on Twitter today in WRC Plus. And, good for them. And they've certainly played better than I expected them to. But let's take a look at some of these guys in the lineup that are playing well. Abraham Toro is hitting 289, 345, 438. Okay. Brett Rooker, who I like a lot. Some of you know how much I like him, and thank you so much for hitting join and watching my most recent video, is not a 366 on base percentage, 612 hitter. Kyle McCann has been, in a very small sample size, one of the most effective hitters in Major League Baseball. This is still a well below average lineup. Like, all due respect to Rooker, all due respect to guys like Shea Langoliers, who can hit the ball very far. JJ Bleday is not without talent. It's still a pretty crappy lineup. That being said, in terms of the eye test of what I saw from Woo when he was on the mound, was solid. It was solid. And, I can't complain too much. What I can complain about, unfortunately, is leaving with injury. Even with the fact that they're telling us all of the right things, that he'll make the next start, that they just want to be really careful. I'm fine with that. I totally agree with that. It's still something that we have to be worried about as Seattle Mariner fans. You know what you don't have to be worried about? Simply Seattle, because they provide the very best in Seattle sports gear. Great stuff for the Mariners, of course, but also the Kraken, Seahawks, Huskies, Storm, Sounders. You can find it all at simplyseattle.com. Once you find all the stuff you're looking for, use code MOLLYWOP15 to save 15% off your order. Great deal, easy breezy. There's a link in the description to make it nice and simple for you. But just in case, just ingrain it in your head. Simplyseattle.com, and that code is MOLLYWHOP15. Thank you so much, Simply Seattle. Okay, there's a lot of positives to take from this game, even with the starting pitcher leaving with injury, which is just a bummer to see. A bummer to see, even we just went over it. You know what I'm saying? I thought the bullpen was really good today. Trent Thornton was excellent. Kirby Snead was really good. Bolton gets the job done. Austin Voth struggles, but in as low leverage of a situation, and he was just trying to throw strikes and get the heck out of there. He does hit a batter, but I thought the bullpen did a really nice job. I don't want to go too gaga for protecting an 8-run lead, and you do give up the run, but a nice job. A nice job. Sneeze looked good. Thornton has had his ups and downs, but mostly ups. Mostly ups. I trust him much more in a role like this than they do high leverage. Forgot that we got to talk about one other negative thing. Matt Brash, done for the year. Tommy John surgery. They're saying 12 months. I think it might actually be a little earlier than that, because he is having... There's two different types of Tommy John surgery now. One that involves a brace, one that does not. It sounds like he's going to have the one that keeps him out a little bit shorter, or a little bit longer, a little bit shorter of recovery time, I guess I should say. Still a major bummer. A major bummer, and it's more evidence that you do have to go trade for another reliever. This group, while not abhorrent, is not good enough to win a World Series. And that's ultimately the goal, is to win a World Series. In my video, again, I'll promote it. If you hit join, you get to watch something that I posted looking at trade targets for every American League team, and a bunch of those guys were relievers. A bunch of them. And, I'm not saying that they're going to go out and get any of those guys. I'm just saying the targets make even more sense with this news. They also had an injury update on Gregory Santos. It sounds like he's still a long way away, too. What a bummer, because when healthy, Santos, Brash, and Munoz gives you three of the very best relievers in baseball from the right side. I wonder if we'll ever see it. I hope so. Okay, now on to some positives outside of the bullpen pitching well. Josh Rojas continues to just really impress. 351 average now, but with a 526 slugging percentage. If you would have told me that Josh Rojas was hitting 351 on May 10th, 39 games into the year, almost exactly a quarter of the way through, I would say, okay, but he must just be dinking and dunking the baseball all over the place. No, he's hitting the ball with authority, man. And he's making a difference with his speed. He steals his fourth base. I thought he made a couple of excellent defensive plays at second base. Really like that they gave Polanco the day off today, too. That guy needs to just sit. And there's some other guys, who need to have that as well. Ty France got that a little bit ago. I think you need to give Julio that day off as well. You know, sometimes they just need a break. They just need a break. Baseball is hard. It is something you do every single day, and any job that you do every single day, sometimes you need a break. Sometimes you need a break. Luke Raley had a nice day. He was down 0-2 in the count where he had the double, and I was just kind of like, this is a really poor at bat that is going on right now. But then he showed his strength. He drove that baseball into the gap right off the wall with a exit velocity well over 100 miles an hour. Since the early portion of May, well, maybe even a little bit late in April, Rayleigh's been pretty solid. He needs to be in the lineup every day. Is that darning with faint praise a little bit? Of course. But I do think that he needs to play every day and probably move up in the lineup a little bit. They hit him 6 today. Maybe that's where he should be. So he hits the ball hard. Ty France scorches a couple of baseballs. It's great to see that. He hit that double hard. He also hit a line drive single pretty hard. I'm still very frustrated with the production we've gotten from Ty France, but today was good. And there's nothing we can do about what happened the last 38 games. If Ty France can give you more games like this going forward, it's a major boon for the offense. The biggest positive is Dylan Moore. Another terrific game. And he's looking a lot more comfortable at the plate. So much so it sounds like in a positive development, I should say, it does sound like JP Crawford is just about back, which is much earlier than I was expecting. Not disappointed to be wrong there. They got to find a way for Dylan Moore to play. I would be tempted, and his arm doesn't really play there. Well, no, you know what I would do? Josh Rojas should be. No, you can't do that because Polanco. See, this is what happens when you do these live videos and you're thinking it through. You just got to find a way to get Dylan Moore in the lineup. He has been one of your most effective hitters. And honestly, as of late, he's probably been your second best hitter behind Rojas. Imagine me telling you the Mariners are over 500 and your two best hitters at the current time are Josh Rojas and Dylan Moore. Baseball is weird. What a game he had. One of the RBI singles is an oopsie daisy, but it's what happens when you put the ball in play. When you put the ball in play, oopsie daisies can lead to good things. Well, they can lead to bad things. I talked about this with Ian that, the bad part about strikeouts is nothing good can happen, right? But the side effect of that, or the other side of that is, can't hit into a double play if you strike out. Can't have a guy get thrown out first to third in a strikeout. There are bad things that can happen, but most of them are good. The overwhelming majority of them are good. And he is, I believe, the only. Nope, Josh Rojas also doesn't strike out. He's one of 2 starters today that don't strike out. And you see what happens sometimes if you just put the ball in play. He's been terrific. He has earned more playing time. Do not look at the 226 average. That's not indicative whatsoever of what Dylan Moore has done for you for most of the year. And he has more than held his own as a shortstop as well. Some gaffes, some late jumps, but for the most part, he's been so much better than I imagine a bunch of people thought he would be. This was fun. And this was such a nice bounce back from just getting, destroyed against Minnesota in that final game. Now, tomorrow, Bryce Miller against, I want to call him Sean Estes, but Sean Estes hasn't pitched for a very long time. Joey Estes, Advantage Mariners. This is a lineup that Bryce Miller should dominate. And I wouldn't be surprised whatsoever if he did. Not even a little bit. Great to get this win. It gives you a great chance to win the series, of course, but to get a sweep and to turn a 1-3 series into one that you can have a winning week. You have a chance now to have a winning week. And if you go 3-4, oh well, you have to win this series for me to feel good about it. But yeah. Ultimately, though, my ultimate takeaway from this game was as fun as it was, I'm worried about Bryan Woo. I'm worried because I can see this being a lingering thing. Doesn't have to be. Could be that as he builds up his arm strength, these things will become less and less, um, just happen less and less. But it's not a lock. It's not a lock. Please hit like, please hit subscribe, tell your friends, all that good stuff. Really appreciate the support, guys. I really appreciate all the nice things you guys said after we recorded the second video. Made me feel a lot better after hearing some not so nice things about the first video from people, some people that I thought were friends. What can you do? Good win, Mariners. Please be okay.